So we're going to make a basic hair rig, and to do that, so I normally aim to have the hair rig about 6 inches long, which is end game is about finger to finger. So I normally go quite over. So let's say, just to give you the specifics, I've probably got about 21 inches I cut off normally, roughly. I do waste quite a bit, and I probably could chop it down by quite a bit, but I've done it a few times where I've got it wrong. So normally I take off about 4 inches of coating. It seems like it's just enough coating to do what you need to do. Check that. So it's just under. Just under 4. So that 4. So I've got my 4 inches, which is lovely. So then what we do is make a loop in the end. Don't worry too much about obviously where the knot is. Just make sure you've got enough that you can play with a manoeuvre. So you want to go it like that, so then you end up gaining that. So then what you've got here, this is, we're going for the hair now, right? So that's the where you're going to put your bait stop. Now it's going to be quite a big hole, so if you just pull the knot itself, you prevent the hole from being the hair stop from being too big. It leaves you little to no control. You just put that in there like that. Give it a bit of a pull, make sure it's nice and tight. Don't put it too tight because it'll snap it. Then just chop off the end. Obviously nice and crisp. So now it's the case of putting the hook on. Now right this second I'm using mugger hooks to make these rigs, which are a little bit different to normal straight hooks, but they're okay. So then what you want to do is you want to go in the back of the hook, like so. Normally when I'm making rigs I've got a boilie on the end of it, but I'm just for the demonstration purposes, going to show you just sort of what you need to do and what you need to achieve. Now normally I'd probably say that would be about right. So that would probably, like your 15mm boilie sat on there like that, it would probably go to about where my fingers are, which will probably sit just lovely. But what you want to aim to do is you want to keep the hair on the actual back of the hook as much as possible. And then you want to just turn. What you want to do is you want to make sure that you've got all the strips line. Just keep turning until all the strips line is used. Obviously doing your best to try and keep the hair on the back. There we go. So that's all the strips line now used. So then what you want to do is you want to push that back through the hook, through the back of the hook to the front, like so. Before you pull that tight, just double check that you're on the back like that, and then hold on to that nice and tight and then pull. Yeah, don't pull too hard because otherwise snapping is very easily. So that is your basic of the hook. Now obviously, like I said before, you want to make sure you're using a boilie really for this, so you know the exact sort of sizes you want the hair to be. So now we do the heat shrinks. You probably want about that much if you're using a mugger hook like I am. Just cut it. And then thread it. Thread it down. So you want to make sure it's covered the knot that's not, and you can feel, if you push down in there, you can actually feel where the eye actually is, and you want to try and aim to get that in the middle, providing obviously everything else is covered. Because then when you heat shrink it, you're going to heat shrink it so it's dead in line with the bottom of the hook. So when you shrink it, that'll heat up and it'll turn and it'll look like that sort of. So the next bit will then be the anti-tangle sleeve. Nice and simple, nothing complex about this at all. Now with the Gardener ones, I found it's a struggle to thread through the actual hole. So what we do is we just cut it a little bit. And there it is, on like so. And then you get your measuring, mine's on the rig box. I measure out 6 inches, it's normally where I like to be. And then I go just up a little bit, just so I've got enough, make enough room for the knot. And then obviously you've got excess, quite a lot of excess there, which you can probably just keep and make another rig out of when you're better prepared for it. And then you see what we do is you fold it over again, you turn it, again with the knot situation, it can go quite big. Obviously the knot doesn't need to be big at all, the loop doesn't, so you just pull the knot up, so that's pretty nice size for me. And then get it in there like that, so you're good. And then just a little pull, not over, don't need to be overly tight, just a little pull. And then pretty much there. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut the excess off. Obviously the more you cut off, the more you've got to use. I mean look, just to show you, you've probably got enough there to do a complete another rig. And then you pull the anti-tangle sleeve up, pull it, and it's ready. Obviously then you've got to heat shrink the heat, you've obviously got to heat that up to shrink it. We won't be doing that today, but you can see that's the desired finish you're going to go for. It's going to look like that, it will sit like that, nice and straight. This is how I've made my rigs for the past 1.5 years, and they haven't failed me yet.